All right, so moving into our next lesson, we're going to talk about the Pythagorean Theorem. So, moving right along. There we go. So our key concept, we're talking about parts of a right triangle. So the longest side, which is opposite the right angle, is called the hypotenuse. All right, so here's our right angle. Across from it is our hypotenuse. The other sides of a right triangle are called legs, as you can see in our picture here. So this right triangle, things you need to know about a right triangle: it has one right angle, which is why it's called a right triangle, and that hypotenuse is very important. So moving on to the Pythagorean theorem, if a triangle is a right triangle, so this is important, it has to be a right triangle for this to work, then the sum of the squares of the lengths of the legs is equal to the square of the length of the hypotenuse. And you're like, what? Simply put, my legs here are labeled A and B, so A squared plus B squared equals C squared. The one thing you just have to remember is that across from the right angle is always C. C matters. A and B, it doesn't matter which side or which leg you attach them to. It is C. C has to be the hypotenuse. That is a must. So I'm going to write that as a note. C has to be the hypotenuse. And nope, I spelled it right. Just didn't feel like I spelled it right. All right, so with that in mind, how do we use it? All right, here I have a triangle with side lengths 3 and 4. I have my right angle right here. Across from it is my C. I always tend to label that for myself. What is the length of the hypotenuse of this triangle? So I know that A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I'm just going to randomly say that this is A and this is B. And so I'm going to substitute. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. Remember, squared means to multiply by itself. So 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. I'm going to add those together and get 25. What we haven't talked about is how do we undo a square. And we undo a square by taking the square root. And so I'm going to take the square root of both sides so that my square goes away. And the square root of 25 is 5. And so that is my answer. C equals 5. Simple as that. All right. So on to our next example. Here we have a pyramid. We want to the nearest hundredth, what is the slant of the height? So here's this, or what is the slant height of the Great Pyramid? So if you notice, right here is a right triangle. That's all we have to worry about. Now, they give us two side lengths. This is the side of the pyramid, but the right triangle drops in a pyramid. This height drops directly to the center. So this is half this side length. Just keep that in mind. So from here, I'm going, and they've already gotten half for us. So we're still doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is going to be my a, this is going to be my b, so my a is 146.71 squared. My b is 115.175 squared, and that's going to equal c squared. So when I square these, let me find my paper I've already done the work on. When I square 146.71, I get 21,523.8241 plus, and then 115 squared, 13265.28063 equals c squared. add those together and we get 34789.10473. That's still c squared. Now that is c squared, I've got to find what c is, so I'm going to take the square root of both. It wants it to the nearest hundredth, so that's 2 decimal places. And so I'm going to get 186.52, and then we're meters, and that is my hypotenuse. And that's how we find a missing hypotenuse. And in the next slides, or in the next video, we're going to learn about what if one of my legs is missing and I need to find it. I will see you in the next video. Until then.